Okay, the iPhone 18 Pro Max is getting expensive, really expensive. And the weird part is, Apple may actually have enough changes this year to make people argue about whether the higher price is justified. Not everyone will agree, because one leak makes the phone look much better. Another makes it look heavier. One camera change could matter every single day, and one hidden feature may be more useful than all of them. I'll save that one for later. First, the number everybody is going to care about. The current iPhone 17 Pro Max starts at $1199 in the US. Apple still lists that price today. Now, Mac Rumors says estimates for the iPhone 18 Pro line point to a possible $200 to $300 increase. Do the math. If Apple passes the full increase to the Pro Max, we could be looking at roughly $1399. Maybe even $1499. That is not confirmed pricing. But that range is now realistic enough that I would take it seriously. And at $1499, the conversation changes completely. You are not asking, is this better than last year? Of course it is. You are asking, is it $300 better? Keep that question in mind, because now we need to look at what Apple may actually give you back for that money. And the first change is something you will notice before you even turn the phone on. The colors are changing. Apple is reportedly dropping cosmic orange and deep blue. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is expected in dark cherry, light blue, dark gray, and silver. Dark cherry is the one getting attention. And honestly, if Apple gets a shade right, I think that will be the color people fight over at launch. Not bright red, not purple, something deeper, almost wine red in lower light. But color is color. I would never tell you to spend $1,400 because the back looks nice. The rear itself may also look cleaner. Apple is reportedly changing the ceramic shield area around MagSafe so the back looks more frosted and seamless instead of having such a strong two-tone look. Nice. But again, not the reason I would upgrade. The real reason starts inside the camera. The camera may finally control light physically. The main camera is still expected to be 48 megapixels. So if you were waiting for some crazy 200 megapixel number, this probably is not that phone. But Apple may make a much more useful change. Variable aperture. And I know you have probably heard that phrase already. The useful part is what it means when you actually take a photo. Right now, the iPhone uses a huge amount of software to control the final image. Exposure, HDR, blur, night processing, everything gets calculated. With variable aperture, the lens itself can change how much light gets in before the software starts working. Bright afternoon, the opening can become smaller. Dark room, it can open wider. Group photo, Apple can change depth of field differently. That gives the camera one more physical tool instead of asking software to fix everything afterward. And this could matter because modern iPhones sometimes do too much. You take a photo, it looked natural for half a second. Then the processing finishes and suddenly the face looks different. The shadows are brighter. The sky is darker. Everything has that phone photo look. Variable aperture will not remove processing, but it gives Apple more real light to work with before the processing starts. That is why I care about it. But there is a second camera change people may notice more. The telephoto camera is also rumored to get more light, and that could matter in the one-place phone zoom normally falls apart. At night, think about a concert. You zoom toward the stage. Daytime, looks fine. At night, noise, soft faces, too much sharpening. If Apple gets more light into that telephoto camera, that could be a bigger real-world upgrade than simply increasing the zoom number. Would you rather have 50x zoom that looks terrible or cleaner normal zoom when you actually need it? I know my answer. But now we need to talk about the trade Apple may be making to fit all this inside. The Pro Max may get heavier. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is expected to get thicker. Mac Rumors list that as one of the main rumored changes. Normally, that sounds like bad news. Nobody is asking for a heavier phone. But then you look at the battery, and suddenly the extra size starts making sense. Mac Rumors says alleged regulatory filings point to a battery that is nearly 10% larger than the iPhone 17 Pro Max battery. That is a real jump. And earlier reported figures put the US Pro Max battery around 5567 mAh. Now think about that together with the next chip. The A20 Pro is expected to move from a 3 process to 2 That matters because a bigger battery is only half the story. If the chip also uses less power, you get both sides working together. More battery available, less battery wasted. That is the combination I want. Not another all-day battery line. Put the phone on 5G, use maps. Record 4K video, take photos. Keep brightness high, then show me what is left at 9 p.m. That is the battery as people actually care about. And if Apple gets close to a 10% battery increase on the Pro Max while also improving efficiency, then yes, I would accept a little more thickness. Would you? Or is the Pro Max already too heavy for you? Because I think that is going to be one of the biggest arguments around this phone. And then there is one hidden change I think almost nobody will notice in the store. The phone may handle weak signal differently. The iPhone 18 Pro models are expected to use Apple's next generation C2 modem. That sounds boring. Until your phone has one bar. You know the situation. Nothing loads. The phone gets warm. Battery starts dropping, and somehow you are barely using it. That is your modem working hard to hold a weak connection. If C2 improves efficiency and signal handling, you will never look at the chip. You will just notice that the phone stays cooler and lasts longer in bad coverage. That is the kind of hidden feature I actually like. Something you do not show your friends, but something you feel every day. And C2 may connect to the biggest hidden feature of the whole phone. But I am saving that one. First, there is another chip. N2 may fix the small, annoying stuff. Apple is also expected to move from N1 to a new N2 wireless chip. N1 already handles Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 6, and Thread in recent Apple hardware. Apple says N1 also improved things like AirDrop and personal hotspot reliability. N2 should move that forward, although the exact improvement has not leaked yet. And honestly, I do not care if Apple says wireless performance is 18% better. Give me this instead. AirDrop works the first time. Hotspot connects without turning it off and on. AirPods switch to the right device. That is what I want. Small things, but you notice them constantly. Now there is another physical change. Camera control may get less annoying. Apple is expected to simplify camera control. The new version may remove touch sensitivity and haptic feedback, leaving pressure sensitivity. And honestly, that may be better, because Apple made that button do a lot. Swipe, touch, press, different levels, and some people barely use half of it. So Apple may be doing something companies rarely admit. Removing complexity. If you use camera control like a normal camera button anyway, you probably lose almost nothing, and accidental touches may become less common. Simple fix. Useful fix. Now let's get to the front. The dynamic island may finally shrink. Apple is expected to move part of Face ID hardware under the display. That could allow a smaller dynamic island. Not gone.
Smaller.
The Pro Max should still stay around 6.9 inches, and the overall design is expected to remain familiar. So no, this is probably not the dramatic redesign people keep waiting for. But the display is also expected to move to LTPO+. That should help battery efficiency. And that is why I keep coming back to battery. Larger battery, more efficient screen, 2 men of chip, potentially more efficient modem. All of these small changes are pushing in the same direction. The Pro Max may be built for endurance this year. And now we can finally talk about the hidden feature I saved. What if no service does not mean offline anymore? Mac Rumors says the iPhone 18 Pro models are expected to support 5G via satellite, not only emergency SOS. The report specifically points to satellite use for web browsing without normal Wi-Fi or cellular connectivity. Now, do not take that to mean unlimited high-speed satellite internet everywhere on launch day. Apple has not announced that. Coverage will matter. Countries will matter, networks will matter, but think about the direction. You are driving somewhere remote. Your normal signal disappears. Today, your phone becomes much less useful. Now imagine maps still getting data, messages still working, maybe selected apps still connecting. That changes the meaning of losing cellular service. And that is why I think this feature could matter more than the new color, the smaller dynamic island, and maybe even the camera for some people. You may barely use it, but the one time you actually need it, nothing else in the phone matters. Would you pay extra for that? That is the question. Because now we have to come back to price. Now, $1499 does not sound like a joke. The iPhone 17 Pro Max currently starts at $1199 for 256 GB. Apple's own store still shows that price. Mac Rumors says iPhone 18 Pro pricing estimates are $200 to $300 higher. So if Apple applies the same increase to the Pro Max, $1199 plus $200 gives you $1399. Add $300 instead, $1499. Again, those are not official Apple prices. They are the logical range if the rumored increase lands in full. And that is a huge psychological difference. $1199 is already expensive. At $1499, you are $300 higher for the base model. Now every feature gets judged harder. Variable aperture? Better be good. Bigger battery? Better last noticeably longer. Satellite? Better be useful. C2 modem? Better improve real signal. A 20 Pro? Do not show me a benchmark. Show me less heat. Show me better battery. Because at $1499, nobody cares that Geekbench went up. People want to feel where the money went. And there is one more thing people are going to notice. The iPhone 18 Pro Max is expected in September 2026, alongside the iPhone 18 Pro and Apple's foldable iPhone. The normal iPhone 18 is expected later around spring 2027. That means if you want the newest normal style iPhone this fall, Apple may be pushing you toward the Pro line. And that makes the price increase even more controversial. Do you pay $1399 or $1499? or do you wait until 2027 for the regular iPhone 18? That is a much harder decision than Apple normally gives people. So now put the whole thing together. Dark cherry, a cleaner rear design, variable aperture, more light for the camera, nearly 10% more battery on the Pro Max, a 2 20 Pro, C2 modem, N2 wireless chip, smaller dynamic island, simpler camera control, and 5G through satellite. That is actually a strong list, but the price can ruin all of it. And that is why I think the iPhone 18 Pro Max will be one of the most argued about iPhones in years. Not because it is bad, because Apple may finally give people a lot of the upgrades they asked for, then charge enough that half the audience says, yeah, but not for that price. So I want one answer. If Apple puts $14.99 on the screen but gives you nearly 10% more battery, the new camera system, better satellite connection, and a more efficient 2 chip, are you still interested? Or does your current iPhone suddenly look perfectly fine? Because that may be the real iPhone 18 Pro Max controversy. Not whether Apple made a better phone. Whether Apple made it better enough to justify what could be the biggest Pro Max price jump in years.